I have a little bit of a testimony. I went to Tamrat last night, and it's at Ascend Global, which used to be Bay City. And when I was a teenager, that's where I first started going to church and first met God. And anyway, I was with all my youth leaders. They all came. They're amazing. And they, as soon as the music started, they pulled me to the front. They're like, come on, guys, let's go worship. And they pulled me, and there was like a long line of people. And right where I stopped, I just looked up, and I was like, this is where I first met Jesus. I was like, I got so much, I'm getting emotional now. I was like, this is where I first encountered Jesus. And look how different life is now. There, that girl that first encountered Jesus was getting pulled in so many ways. The world wanted me. I wanted to be cool and like do all that stuff, but also there was this relentless assault, this voice in my head that was like, you should die. And it can be overwhelming, that voice sometimes. But if you hear that voice, I challenge you today, talk back to it. Tell it to be quiet and encounter Jesus. And if you never can doubt what an encounter can do for these young people, there is so much going for them, that want their soul right now. But an encounter with Jesus can change your life. And God uses me today, and I honestly feel so humbled. I'm like, God, why me? It's awesome. I love doing your work. And so I'm getting emotional. And it all started with meeting him and just falling in love with him, and I see it in the youth today, and it's awesome. And partnering and enabling us to create these encounters for these youth is a powerful, powerful thing to do. So I'm excited for what God's doing here in the youth, and for you guys to be a part of it too. So you guys can all go back to your seats now. Thank you. Are you guys finished? I just assumed. Yeah, cool. Okay, thank you so much, band. Our band's amazing, like honestly. They've been asked, so usually like New Life just sorts the band every year, but like they must have heard, there was some circumstances, but that our youth band is epic. Thank you. And so they actually asked us to, that's not mine, to do the youth band at camp this year. Woo! They're going to be amazing. They've been given the whole set list, and that's cool. All right, boys, I'm going to jump down here. Boys that were going to help me out, that wanted chocolate this morning. Can you come up? Yes, here they come. Never underestimate what a youth will do for chocolate. No, I might get back up. I'll see how I go. Yeah, cheers. All right, you guys want some chocolate? All right, so you're going to run. Run? Yeah, you're going to run, mate. How bad do you want it? Yeah, you're just going to run down to the curtain and back. I'm going to give you a chocolate, okay? Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah. All right. Awesome. Okay. Go again.
Oh, my baby.
Nice, guys. Nice. Go again. Go, Grace. Grace is on it too. Look at her go. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Not again.
Go again. How badly do they want the chocolate? Some of them. Right. Let's have a little interview now. How annoying am I?
Pretty annoying right now.
And like, how frustrating is it that like I said go, and then I've like made you go again and again?
Oh, I don't even know.
Why do you keep going?
Because I want the chocolate.
Yeah. Awesome. I said I'd give it to you. Do you think I'm actually going to give it to you?
You should give me the packet now.
Hey guys, go again. This is you're getting your steps in. Oh, here's Kid! Kid's doing it! He's running! Yeah. Go again. Ken wants the chocolate too. Go again. Okay, how tired are you?
Quite tired.
Pretty tired. Are you over it?
Yeah.
Okay, one more time, go again. Grace is she's doing it with a camera. She's like those Bear Grylls, he does all these amazing things and everyone's like, oh, Bear Grylls, but the cameraman's doing all that with the camera. Oh. Okay, share it out. Good work, guys. Oh, jeepers, it's a long way up. Okay. Believe is our word for the year. And it's an awesome word. And we've had an amazing series exploring the many facets of that. And I've had this word on my spirit for a while now. And I feel like it's actually a word for a lot of people here today. And it's, I think, encouraging, but also can be quite an uncomfortable topic. We love uncomfortable. When I tell some of you to believe, you're like, yes! And then I tell others of you to believe, and you're like, yeah, believe. Because you're battle weary. You feel as though you've been let down too many times. Or it's like, I can believe for some things, but that thing right there, I don't know. For a lot of you, you're like, Sarah, you don't understand the disappointment that I've faced. You don't understand what it's like to pray for a situation to change again and again for it to remain the same. For a lot of you, you're like, I'm turning up, I'm doing the thing every day, but nothing's changed. And for others of you, you're like, I did the thing, it didn't work out, and now you're scared to do the next thing. It's understandable that this makes us feel unsafe and uncomfortable. And sometimes I think we make excuses for God, and then we stop doing the thing because it's safe. Like, maybe these miracles and this word isn't for us today, or maybe I'm not meant for this. But I'm telling you, our God has called and commissioned us, and the same God that worked the miracles in the Bible, that God is unchanging. He is the same last decade, last century, and forevermore. He doesn't change. And I've seen healings. I've seen deliverances. I've seen lives changed. I've seen relationships restored. So what about this other thing? Where's God in that? Why isn't he showing up to that thing? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got it wrong. Last year, our word was courage. And I think that was a really appropriate word to go before believe. Because what I'm learning is that it takes courage to believe. Major courage. It takes incredible courage to get up again and again and stand before God and say, even though our situation isn't changing, God, I know this is going to change. I know that it is your will that things are going to be different. And I stand today and I pray for that. Only for things to be not different tomorrow, but to get up and pray the same unfaltering, because you know that's what you've got to do. Or to turn up and continue to turn up, even when things don't change. To have lost so much, to have failed, but to be like, I'm going to get up again. It takes courage to pray for someone and be like, I personally haven't seen a healing before, but God's telling me to pray for this person. To have courage to pray for that person to step out. It takes courage to believe. 1 John 5:14 says that if we pray for anything, if it is in accordance with God's will, he will answer your prayer. So you know that in your heart that what you're praying for aligns with his will, or a word that you've received, but you're like, where's God at? I want to read you from the Bible now, 1 Kings 18:41-45, and it's Elijah praying for rain. Elijah said to Ahab, "Go and get something to drink, for I hear a mighty rainstorm coming." So what had happened prior to this is Elijah had prayed that the heavens would be shut up, that there'd be no rain for years. I actually can't remember how many years. And then now the rain is coming, and Elijah's telling the king, "You need to prepare, the rain is coming." So Elijah went and climbed to the top of Mount Carmel and bowed low to the ground and prayed with his face between his knees. The dude is flexible. And then he said to his servant, "Go and look out toward the sea." The servant went and looked. Then he returned to Elijah and said, "I didn't see anything." 7 times Elijah told him, "Go and look." Finally, the 7th time, his servant said, "I saw a little cloud about the size of a man's fist rising from the sea." And Elijah shouted, "Hurry and tell Ahab, climb into a chariot and go home. If you don't hurry, the rain will stop you." I want you to imagine that you are Elijah's servant. You love your teacher. You don't want to think he's crazy. But 6 times you've gone out there and it was a clear sky. And he tells you to go back and go again. Kind of reminds me of the story of the walls of Jericho. So in Joshua 6, I think it is. Hopefully not Joshua 5, Joshua 6, yeah. In Joshua 6, God says to Joshua, "For 7 days you're going to walk a lap of the wall. And then on the 7th day, you're going to walk a lap 7 times. And then the walls, you're going to shout and trumpets, and the walls are going to come down." Now, historians believe that each of those laps would have taken over an hour, all in their military gear, all in rank, and stopping every now and then to blow the trumpets. So you imagine on the 7th day, and you're expecting you're going to go into battle. It feels like God's really tiring you out. 7 laps, 7 hours more than 7 hours of walking. Can you imagine, can you just put yourself into the servant, into the soldier's shoes right now? And because I can imagine that on the 13th lap, it could be pretty hard to imagine that things are going to be different on the 14th, so different that the walls are just going to fall down. Well, you've gone out to check the sky 5 times. 5 times is a lot. Husbands, imagine you're like, "Honey, where are the keys?" And she says, "They're here, go look." And you go and look. And then you come, "Honey, they weren't there, where are the keys?" And she goes, "Go look." So you go look. "Honey, they're not there." And she says again, 3rd time, "Go look." I bet you'd just be like, "Are you kidding me right now? I have looked and they are not there." So the servant does this. So imagine 5 times you go out and you look at the sky, no cloud. Get back and he's like, a 6th time. And you're like, "I bet this next time there's going to be no cloud." Guess what? There was no cloud. But if he had taken that as confirmation, like, "I thought that on last time," and he thought, "Okay, there's no cloud 6th time." If he'd stopped there, he would have never seen the cloud. If the Israelites had got to the 10th lap and they're like, "We are tired. I can't do another lap, the walls aren't coming down." Guess what? They wouldn't have come down because they were never coming down on the 10th lap. They were never coming down on the 11th lap. They had to do the 14 laps. How many of you in your situation are on the 4th lap? How many of you are on the 5th lap and you're like, "I bet next time there's not going to happen either." And it doesn't happen, you're like, "Confirmation." And you've stopped. Today I felt like God wanted me to encourage a lot of you here to go again. The thing is, Elijah had faith in God's character. Elijah had faith in God, who God was. He knows who God is. It didn't matter that he'd had a negative report 6 times. He knew God would come through. He knew God does not lie or falter. And on the 7th time, there was just a cloud the size of a man's fist, and he was like, "Say less." He was like, "It is here." He didn't see a storm cloud. He didn't see a black sky breaching the horizon. He saw a cloud the size of a man's fist. We don't even know if it was dark. And he was like, "It is here." It's funny, last night at Tamrat, actually, he gave me a word, and it was pretty crazy to me. So I am passionate about running, like so passionate. I love it. I have like represented New Zealand. I've won gold at Oceanias. I thought like, this is me. And I felt like I've had words spoken over me. I've had people tell me things. I've had dreams myself that I feel like God-given. And I thought, oh, I'm going to the Olympics. And then I found out I was pregnant. I was like, that's all good. People come back and do this. And then like 9 months later, I was like, oh, I'm pregnant again. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, I can still come back. And then I got sick, and then I ruptured like 4 ligaments, and then I got stress fractures. And then it's been 7 years since I last competed properly. But something inside me, God is like, I just can't give up. Like, I can't let it die. Even though there's a lot of time when every part of me wants to, because I'm tired sometimes. And something in me, God keeps saying, don't give up. But the problem is also I want it real bad. So I was like, God, I literally don't want to hold anything back from God. So I'm like, God, if this is getting in the way of like me doing your work, then I'll quit. Like, I think you want me to quit. Maybe. But I literally could not shake that voice. Go again. Like, this season was so hard. This is the 7th season in a row that I have trained, like, all winter, hours, so much energy, so much time, just to turn up to another season and be injured and suck. Like, I really suck at the moment for where I've been. And I'm like, maybe this is a sign. All these no's are a sign that God doesn't want me to do this, and I'm just forcing through and I'm pushing through. But I couldn't hear God because I just kept hearing, go again. And so I was like, in January, I saw Tamrat was coming. I knew he was prophetic. I was like, God, I need to hear it in uncertain terms. If you want me to quit, you tell Tamrat to tell me. I literally said this to God, and he's going to tell me to quit. At the thing. He'll say it nicely, I'm sure, but like, I don't care, you can say it harsh. Anyway, so I go last night, and I'm like, it comes into my mind again, I'm like, right, I'm going to hear from Tamrat tonight, he's going to tell me the status on the situation. And then he goes, Sarah. Like, he's preaching, he says, Acts 10. And then he's like, Sarah. I'm like, huh? He's like, set up Pearce. The man doesn't know me. I'm like, what? He's like, green dress. I'm like, okay. And I walk to the front. He's like, do you know you're a champion? I was like, yes! But he could have been like, honestly, he could have been like, do you know you're a chicken? I would have been like, yes! Doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. And anyway, he said to me, don't quit. But the funny thing was, like, everyone afterwards was like hugging me and congratulating me as if I'd already done the thing. I was like, you guys are so faithful. That's like your fist in the sky to you. I'm like, I know the work that goes into it. That's not the fist in the sky. But anyway. So I know, well, like I've spent so much time after races bawling my eyes out, like going home crying, so disappointed. Crying to my husband being like, I really feel like God is in this. Why am I seeing nothing? Why am I not even vaguely good? Why is there not a sign? Like, why am I so far from where I was? The thing is, even when we don't see it, we need to have faith in God and stand in that fact. He is unchanging, ever ruling, ever gracious, never usurped. It is His will. If it's His will, I believe it will be done, just maybe not on your timeline. I mean, this was my disappointment, and how many of you is this your thing? That your disappointment is actually that God has not conformed to your schedule. Will God save your marriage? I honestly think if you keep standing and praying and keep getting up and keep doing the thing, yeah. Are you going to have a baby? Oh, why did you just yell that out? Thanks, sorry. Okay, I hope none of you heard that. We're not going to repeat that for the live. Oh, Kim. You keep doing it, go again, nice. But no, I honestly felt that. I was in the shower this morning, and this is what I literally felt. Don't let the disappointment of the lack of baby get in the way of doing the thing of going again. Go again. So, no, but this was the thing that I heard, that you're on your 6th lap. I don't know if that was 6 out of 14 or 6 out of 7, but yeah, honestly, is it God's will that people will be healed? I think, yeah. And I know that because it's confirmed in the life of Jesus that all those that approached him and believed received healing. Many of you have lived through cycles of generational curses. And I believe that it is God's will that you are here today, that he wants to free you from the clutch of the enemy so that you can actually begin a heritage of generational blessings. And one day there's going to be a great granddaughter who's going to be like, I am so grateful that great grandma Amaya stood up and fought for us because she had a relationship with the God who came that she might be saved. I know some of you are like, but what if God doesn't? How many of us have thought that? I would say, keep walking the wall. You don't know that you're on your 13th lap. You don't know that you just could be on your 3rd lap. There could be a long way to go, but I believe that God will never falter and will always come through. And some of you are like, but God didn't. But I'm telling you today that no is not always going to be your answer. To get up and to go again. It is actually biblical. When you are scared or hurt by the disappointment of another empty sky or walls that seem immovable, that you continue to go before your Father. So in Luke 18, 1-8, Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. He said, in a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared what people thought. And there was a widow in the town who kept coming to him with a plea, grant me justice against my adversary. For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, even though I don't fear God or care what people think, yet because the widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice and she won't eventually come and attack me. Now, God is a good father, and he doesn't just do it because he's scared we're going to attack him. Keep going before God. Go again. Do you know, I prayed for my mum. So from when I was about 8, my granddad would come in, he raised me, and come in and hear my prayers every night. And I'm just assuming, I think about 8, I started praying my own prayers with him. And every single prayer I would pray that my mum would be saved. My mum was in addiction, for those who didn't know, and wasn't raising me. When I was in boarding school at year 13, I'd get up every morning and go down to the chapel and I would pray. And my prayers were mostly focused around, Lord, please save my mum. Please, touch her life. Please set her free from addiction. And then I went to uni and I was fasting and I was praying hard and I bought her a bus ticket for Mother's Day to come up and stay with me in Auckland. And I had so much riding on this. I'd fasted, I'd prayed, I was so excited, and I picked her up from the bus station and she came and she hung out with me. But she was so deep in addiction at this stage. And I took her to church. I was like, come to church. She came to church. I was like, this is such a success. And then she was like, when we got out, she's like, I honestly couldn't hear anything that man said. Her ears were literally stopped up. And she told me that when we were lying down one night, she's like, I made this voodoo doll and I called it Beelzebub. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, I just made the name up. I was like, no, you didn't. So it was quite disheartening, but I was so grateful that she came anyway. So we didn't see each other again for 3 years. And then I'm in Wellington for athletics, and I know she's in Wellington, so I hit her up, I'm like, Mum, can we catch up? And I know now that she was living in her car and she was in the depths of addiction, and she said no. And I was really gutted. But I was really gutted. I felt her pain and her shame, and it hurt me too. But I kept praying for her, I kept loving her, and I said, God, you're going to save her. That was in 2014. Later that very year, I get a call out of the blue. Mum and I at this stage, we didn't talk a lot, so she calls me out of the blue. She's like, Sarah, I've given my heart to Jesus. What? I'm so happy. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm reading the Bible. I'm trying to understand it. I don't understand it. I says, that's great. She said, God keeps showing up and doing things in my life. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. So say that was like 17 years, I don't know, I made that up number, pulled that out of the sky, but 16 years of waiting and praying. Was it worth waiting and praying for 16 years? If the thing you're waiting for and believing for, if it takes another 10 years before you receive it, would it still be awesome? Yeah. Just because it doesn't happen tomorrow doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And I would wait a lifetime, I would pray a lifetime for the relationship that I have with my mum now and for her to receive Jesus the way she has now. It was worth every second. And the things and the people that you're praying for and the situations that you're believing for, just because they haven't happened on your schedule, doesn't mean they're not going to happen. Stop backing God into a corner with your time and let him move in your life. Continue to show up. God, it's not like, and I just want to clarify, it's not like God needs our prayers to like puff him up or like he needs them for like fuel to answer them. It's not about that. It's more that it takes faith. And what is faith if it's not tested? Also, we have a God who sees all things and knows all things and timing and what's best. Stand strong, church. Romans 3:5 says, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope, and hope does not put us to shame. In some of our lives, that is what God is doing. He's working on our character. And we need that character more than we need the thing that we're praying for at this very moment. But how do we keep the faith? How do we believe? We persevere. We continue to believe even when it gets hard. We get up and go again with obedient hearts. And I just want to encourage people here today, if that is you, if you've wanted to give up, if there's a situation, if you have failed and you're scared to go again, God wants to meet with you today and he wants to help you to go again. Thanks, Faith. So we're going to stand. The band are going to return in total. Like, not just Faith, everyone. Yeah. Thank you. I should have called that up a little bit before, but that's right. We stand up, everybody. Thank you. Now, I just want to say before, we do have a car wash after the service. We have a team on. They're going to go as fast and do as good a job as they can. $5 is a recommendation if you feel to give more. You always can. I'm not going to stop you. But do consider it that you are partnering with our youth to enable them to have an encounter that could change their lives. Now, I want to pray today. We've got a team up here. We've got awesome pastors who want to pray with you. If you are struggling to go again, if you've been hurt, if you're angry at God, if you're disappointed that things have not worked out how you expected, we want to pray with you. Some of you, I always do an altar call, and it's not because I want to be like, yeah, lots of people came up at all. It's because I feel like in my life there has been power when I've made a move and I've come to the altar and I've said, God, this is the thing that we're dealing with. I give it to you, I make the move, I step out, I put my pride aside and I come to the front. So if you feel like you need to do that, it is powerful. Do come and make that stand before God. If you need prayer, there's people here to pray with you. I hope you all have an amazing Sunday and an amazing week, and go again.